Latoya Acree had a voice that could stop people in their tracks. When she sang, it wasn't just music, it was strength, it was soul, it was truth. Her voice could shake a room and quiet chaos. She was born to shine, and she had finally started to do just that. For years, she gave everything to her children. She raised them with love, food, clean clothes, and shelter, even though she did it all alone. She worked hard, first as a hairstylist, later as a singer in the True Soul band. She was studying, acting in films, and even losing weight to feel better in her own body. She looked younger, sang brighter, smiled more. Her life was finally hers. But Latoya was still holding on to one thing that kept pulling her back: her son. He was grown by age, but not by heart. He had no job, no goals, and no respect. He broke her rules, shouted at her, even once hit his own brother. Still, she let him stay. Still, she gave him chances. Still, she hoped he would change. And then one day, she walked in on something no mother should ever see in her own home. That moment changed everything. Her son got angry. Too angry. Angry enough to aim a gun. Angry enough to shoot the woman who gave him life. Her voice, the same one that used to fill bars and churches, was silenced in an instant. That's how Latoya Acree, a woman full of dreams, music, and light, became the victim of something dark and unthinkable. She didn't die at the hands of a stranger. She died at the hands of her own child, and that left everyone asking the same heavy question: how does love end like this? If this story already has your heart pounding and your mind racing, then buckle up, because it only gets deeper from here. What you're about to hear isn't just a tragedy. It's a lesson, a warning, a mirror held up to the quiet storms happening behind closed doors. So don't just watch, be part of the movement. Hit that subscribe button like it's the lifeline it truly is. Turn on notifications so you never miss a story that matters. And if this broke your heart even a little, share it, comment, speak up, because silence, that's how this keeps happening. Just let's keep going. The truth doesn't wait. Latoya Acree grew up in the South, where church songs filled the air and kindness was a way of life. She feared God, loved deeply, and believed in doing right by others. Her voice was a gift, strong, full, and full of soul. It wasn't just for singing, it was for healing. She became a mother early and carried the weight of raising 3 children all on her own. There was no help, no partner to lean on, just her strength and her faith. But her children were never without. Their clothes were clean, their bellies were full, their hearts were held close. She gave them everything, even when she had little left for herself. While caring for her family, she built a life from the ground up. She earned her cosmetology license from Paul Mitchell School in Woodbridge, Virginia. Then she opened a salon. It wasn't just a job, it was a place where she made others feel beautiful. Women left her chair taller, prouder. She wasn't just styling hair. She was lifting spirits. Latoya was a woman who gave and gave and gave, first to her kids, then to her clients. But deep inside, there was still something calling her, something bigger than scissors and shampoo. Her voice wanted more. Her life was just beginning. By 2017, Latoya felt something stirring inside her. She had spent years caring for others, her children, her clients, but now her heart was calling her to care for herself. The curling irons and salon chairs had served their purpose. It was time to chase what truly made her soul feel alive. She returned to school, enrolling at Walden University to study social work. She wanted to help people on a deeper level, beyond beauty. At the same time, she leaned into her first love, music. That same year, she began taking paid singing gigs, recording covers of popular songs, and sharing her voice online. Her fan base started to grow. In 2019, she joined a local band called True Soul. They traveled across the South, performing in bars and clubs. Her voice, rich, joyful, and powerful, was the heart of their shows. People didn't just listen, they felt her. When she sang, it was like hearing truth wrapped in melody. But her transformation wasn't only on the stage. Latoya began taking care of her body. She changed the way she ate, started working out, and the weight began to melt away. She dropped nearly 200 pounds. She posted photos, no longer hiding behind angles. She smiled big, showed her full self, and wrote proud captions about her journey. Latoya wasn't just chasing dreams, she was living them. She was healthier, happier, and more confident than ever. Her life was expanding. Her world was finally starting to match the greatness she had, always carried inside. Elijah Smith was Latoya's middle child. At 21, he was legally a man, but acted nothing like one. He had no job, no plans, and no sense of responsibility. While his mother worked hard to build a future, Elijah drifted through life with anger in his heart and no respect in his actions. At home, he treated rules like suggestions. Latoya asked for the basics: keep the house clean, be respectful, and don't bring women home for sex. But Elijah broke every one of them, again and again. The worst part wasn't just the disrespect, it was the violence. One day, during a fight between him and Latoya, his brother stepped in to help calm things down. Elijah turned and attacked his own brother. That moment should have been the last straw. Everyone told Latoya to put him out, to protect herself, to choose peace over chaos. But her heart couldn't let go. She was his mother. She kept hoping he'd grow up, hoping he'd change, hoping that love could fix what discipline could not. So she kept giving him chances. Each time he messed up, she laid down rules again. Each time he disrespected her, she tried to talk sense into him. But Elijah didn't listen. He didn't care. He lived in her house, ate her food, and still brought pain to the one person who had never turned her back on him. Latoya wanted her son to be better. She just didn't know that holding on to him would be the very thing that would tear her apart. On the night of September 18th, 2021, Latoya Acree came home from a trip, tired but hopeful to return to peace. Instead, she walked into yet another nightmare. Elijah had once again broken the rules, disrespecting her home and her trust. This time, he was caught in the act. Latoya had had enough. She told him to pack his things and leave. She was done arguing, done begging, done waiting for him to change. What began as shouting inside the house spilled into the driveway. It was past midnight. The neighborhood was quiet. Elijah stuffed his bags into the car, still yelling, still full of rage. Latoya stood nearby, refusing to back down. Then something shifted. Elijah got into the driver's seat. The window on the passenger side was rolled up. From behind the glass, he raised a gun, his hands steady, his heart cold, and he pulled the trigger. The bullet struck Latoya in the chest. She fell to the ground in front of her own home, the same home she had filled with love and music. The same home where she had raised her children. Neighbors heard the shot and rushed outside. Someone called 911. Sirens filled the street. Emergency lights flashed red and blue. Latoya was still breathing when the medics arrived. She was taken to the hospital, but the damage was too great. The woman who had given everything, who had spent her life lifting others, was gone, shot by her own son, left to die in the driveway of the house she built. After the shooting, Elijah didn't run far. He didn't hide. Instead, he checked into a nearby motel called 4 Mile Fork, just a few minutes from the house. He was there with a woman, acting like nothing had happened, as if he hadn't just taken his own mother's life. Police found him quickly. He didn't resist. Inside the car, they found the gun and the shell casing, clear proof of what he had done. He was arrested on the spot and taken into custody. Elijah was charged with second-degree murder and the use of a firearm in the commission of a felony. He was denied bond. While his mother was being laid to rest, he sat in a jail cell. In January 2023, the case went to trial. Elijah's lawyer didn't deny what happened. The defense only asked the court to lower the charge to manslaughter, saying the shooting wasn't planned. But the jury didn't believe it. They had heard the history, the violence, the warnings. They had seen who Elijah was and what he had done. He was found guilty. The judge sentenced him to 44 years in prison, but 10 of those were suspended. Elijah would serve 34 years behind bars. He would be 56 when he got out. To the family, it didn't feel like justice. Latoya's niece, Kiana Carpenter, spoke after the sentencing. She said her aunt didn't deserve to die that way. She said Elijah was dangerous, and even with all the years he got, it still didn't feel like enough. Latoya gave Elijah everything, and for taking her life, he still had a shot at freedom. To her family, that felt like another wound they had to carry. News of Latoya's death spread fast, and it broke the hearts of everyone who knew her. She wasn't just another name in a headline. She was a light, a voice, a sister, a mother, a friend. The True Soul Band, still shaken, made a decision. They had been scheduled to perform at a domestic violence awareness event that same week. Some thought they should cancel. The pain was too fresh, the wound too raw, but they chose to play for Latoya. They took the stage dressed in purple, the color of domestic violence awareness. They didn't just sing, they told her story, they shared her light. They turned their grief into a message, one that carried her voice even after it was gone. Community members gathered, crying openly, remembering her smile, her laugh, her strength. Stories poured in about how Latoya had helped others, how she encouraged people to love themselves, how she always spoke life into everyone she met. At the event, a breeze passed through the crowd. People said it felt like Latoya was there, watching, thanking them, singing along from above. But the moment wasn't just about mourning, it was also a call to action. Speakers urged the crowd to look deeper at domestic violence, especially when it's happening inside the family. Too many suffer in silence. Too many think love means keeping someone close, even when it hurts. Latoya's story became a warning, a wake-up call. A reminder that sometimes the danger is right in the home, and that staying silent can cost everything. Her death didn't just leave an empty seat in a band, it left a hole in a community. But in her name, people began to speak louder, love harder, and fight for safer homes. Latoya Acree's story is not just about what happened that night. It's about everything that led up to it, the warnings, the fear, the love that kept her from letting go. It's a story too many people live, afraid to speak, afraid to leave, especially when the abuse comes from someone they love. Abuse doesn't always come from a stranger. Sometimes it comes from a child, a partner, a sibling, and when it does, it's harder to see, harder to name, and even harder to walk away from. But silence never protects. Love is not supposed to hurt. If someone is controlling you, disrespecting you, or making you feel unsafe in your own home, please don't wait. You are not alone. There are people ready to help day or night. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE 7233 or visit thehotline.org. You can talk, text, or chat with someone who understands and will believe you. Speak up for yourself. Speak up for someone else. Even one voice can save a life. Latoya was full of love, full of dreams, full of light. But love alone couldn't change what needed to be faced. Let her story be a reminder. No matter who the abuser is, you deserve peace. You deserve safety. You deserve to live. Latoya Acree was more than a mother, more than a singer, more than a woman chasing her dreams. She was a force of light, a voice that lifted others, a heart that gave without stopping. She worked hard, loved harder, and never gave up, even when the people closest to her brought her pain. She believed in second chances. She believed in family. She believed that love could heal. Now, all that remains are memories. Her songs, her laughter, her glow. Her legacy lives on in every person she touched, in every stage she graced, in every soul she lifted with her voice. Let her story stay with us. Let it teach us. Let it protect others. Love should never hurt. May Latoya's light never fade. May her story serve as a reminder of the importance of love, respect, and the courage to stand against abuse.